state of the nation is really dire, I must confess. And sometimes we look up to you people to lead us in prayers. But even though we are supposed to do the same. But as you said, we too have to understand that God already gave us the wherewithal to do these things instead of just saying we leave it for God. So in leading the flock, what's your relationship with the people vis-a-vis what's going on in the country today?
Well, in the first instance, we believe that people need to be sensitized to their obligation to hold those who are responsible for their welfare responsible for it. And I think that if through the several agencies and opportunities that we have, we are able to let people not simply say, well, that is the way we are, what can we do? People will just, well, that is, as we say, up NEPA when everything goes wrong with electricity. I mean, that will just not throw our hands in defeat, but rather we psych ourselves into into action in some way or the other. Action in terms of demanding from those who have responsibility to do that which is expected of them. And even civil actions in relationship with the non-governmental organizations to bring to fore these problems that we have at hand now. And I think indeed that people are a lot more aware of of rights and obligations and duties, but sometimes we are bogged down by the problems of day-to-day living, how to get breakfast and lunch and dinner, that you don't want to bother yourself with. But it's something that we must continue to do, to educate, to sensitize, to create awareness, so that people can take responsibility along with their leaders in holding people responsible for their positions.
My mind strayed into one big problem that is affecting the whole world now, and indeed Nigeria: marriage. It's like the marital institution, marriage is becoming trivialized, watered down, diluted. The unity that it used to represent seems to be dropping and lacking, which means, therefore, that parenting is also badly affected. So I don't know how, in a short while, can you please just look at the Catholic standing on marriage and what today's marriage is becoming, and how are you looking at it? What do you think should be the solution?
Yeah, well, thank you for that, because I think it's a very vital part of what constitutes a problem in our world, in our nation. The institution of marriage is being put under threat, is undergoing lots and lots of threats at this time, from what you might call the secular humanist trend of thought. I mean, when people begin to think that marriage does not necessarily have to be between a man and a woman, striking at the root of the institution. When people think that, okay, when they enter into marriage and they don't feel like being a man again, they can decide to become a woman, for instance. Obviously, all those things are striking at the root of faith, of the institution. And when, for instance, the parents don't have adequate, or don't create adequate time to be with their children and to educate them, to teach them the things, so as it were, mentor them in life, obviously. So all of these things are problems that are there with marriage and the family at this point in time. And I think that sometimes there are forces that are very, very strong with lots of money that are making this attack. So I think, therefore, that the church as an institution should not be apologetic with regards to her understanding of what marriage and family life is all about. I mean, we believe that marriage is an institution that was ordained by God, and ordained by God in a particular way. It's like somebody makes a product, and it gives you the instructions by which that product will fulfill its to the optimum. You either follow it and get optimum results, or you leave it and get the other side. And I think that because we are not following the manual of He who gave us the institution of marriage, that we have run into the kind of problems that we are talking about now. And therefore, that's why I said that we as church must not apologize for what we believe, but rather try to solidify and to explain more and to stand strong in bringing to fore what we believe as far as marriage and family is concerned. Of course, children are almost like tabula rasa when they are born, and it is what we feed into them that constitute the values or disvalues that they grow up with. And that is why we cannot play with the role of marriage, and we cannot play with the role of marriage as traditionally as constituted and as ordained by God. We cannot play with it. Neither should we play with the welfare and the life of children.
Your Grace, you are 60, but you don't look anywhere near 60. So it's not a dumb question to ask, how do you feel right now?
Well, I ask myself, where has the time gone? Well, I think God has simply been very good to me, really. I feel that there is a purpose that God wants me to achieve, and that's why He has kept me for this number of years and for the other number of years that He wants me to be. And therefore, I should do whatever is in my power, whatever I can, in order to ensure that God's purpose is fulfilled. And of course, God's purpose continues to reveal itself as the time and the years go by, in interaction with people, in study, in engagement. And so I hope that as these interactions and engagements come by, that God's purpose will be more and more revealed, and I can fulfill it. So I feel happy and thankful to God for
So
these years.
what's your message to Nigerians, the leaders, and those who are led? What's your general message to them? Because no matter how you look at this whole thing, you can't blame one person without looking at the other.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. I think, first of all, we all must never lose hope. We can easily get to a point at which we say we are beyond redemption. But no, we are not beyond redemption. Because the problems that we have today were created by people like you and I. And therefore, you and I can also be the solution to the problems. And therefore, my basic message is, let us never lose hope in a country called Nigeria. Let us never lose hope in the fact that we can rise again and be great as a nation, greater than we are at the moment. But then, of course, that means that those who have position of leadership need to recognize the fact that the common good, the welfare of every single citizen, irrespective of gender, religion, or whatever it is, or ethnic, should be uppermost in their minds and hearts. In making their policies, in taking their decisions, in deciding who to put in what positions, that common good should be the first thing. And then we, the regular, ordinary, average Nigerians, we also obviously are not, because when you talk to to the politicians and say, well, it is the people who expect this and that from them that make them to go the way they do, sometimes. So we also need to have another attitude that as it were, thinks of the other before one's own self. I think at this point in time, the typical Nigerian is, well, I think I shouldn't generalize, but ordinarily we are all looking at what will favor us, favor our group, favor our ethnic groups and the rest of it, rather than the common good. So I think that should be the thing, the way for us at this time.
Grace, thank you so much for giving us your time. I wish you many more years in God's grace, and a happy birthday, by the way. Thank you so much, Grace.
Thank you very much. Thanks for taking the time to come.